कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंदा Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Damodare Radha Damodare Radhe. Jaya Radha Bharinishwar Radha Bharinishwar Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radhe. Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jagannatha Jai Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Narsimhadeva Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Srila Gurudeva Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. My humble obeisances to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis assembled here. First of all, I would like to thank Her Grace Rukmini Preeti Mataji for motivating me once again to take class. I would like to thank temple management for giving me an opportunity to serve the lordships by glorifying Krishna Katha. I am very insignificant to glorify Lord Krishna, but by blessings of all the assembled devotees and by my beloved Guru Maharaj, I am trying to attempt to glorify Lord Krishna in this special month, Damodar month, for my own purification. Today's topic is killing of Kuvalayapida and Kamsa. So we'll start with prayers. Om Ajnanathimiradasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasme Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansya Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitansya He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Since we are discussing Krishna Lila, let's have a quick recap from previous class. Yesterday we had glorification of Srila Prabhupada, and day before we heard the sweet pastimes of Lord Krishna entering Mathura in the afternoon. Then they had sightseeing program on the streets of Mathura. We heard the beheading of wicked washerman relieving Kubja from mental torment of a hunched body, and then the breaking of the bow in sacrificial arena. After breaking the bow, both Lord Krishna and Balaram continued their tour. People of Mathura saw the amazing prowess and beauty of Lord Krishna and Balaram. They thought they must be two chief demigods. As the residents of Mathura gazed upon Krishna and Balaram, they enjoyed all the blessings. Later, they passed the night resting comfortably. Meanwhile, on the other side, when Kamsa came to understand about the breaking of his wonderful bow and the killing of caretaker and soldiers by Krishna, Kamsa could partially realize the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He could realize that the eighth son of Devaki had appeared and that now his death was imminent. Thinking of his imminent death, Kamsa could not rest the entire night. He began to have many inauspicious visions, and he could understand that both Krishna and Balaram, who had now approached the precincts of the city, were simply his messengers of death. Kamsa then began to see various kinds of inauspicious signs. Now, coming to today's topic, that is killing of Kuvalayapida and Kamsa. These form part of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 43 and 44, and it contains 91 texts. It is very difficult to narrate text completely in short span of 40 minutes. So let's cover this on a summary basis. It was day 2 of Krishna and Balaram in Mathura. After finishing their early morning rituals, Krishna and Balaram heard kettle drums which herald the start of the wrestling match, and Krishna and Balaram then went to see the festivities at the gate of the wrestling arena. On the rituals performed, Srila Sukadev Goswami narrates as follows. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 43 chapter and shloka number 1. Shri Sukavacha Ata Krishnascha Ramascha Krita Sacha Parantapa Malladundu Binirgosham Strutva Drashtam Upeyata. Translation. Here, Sukhdev Goswami said, "O chastiser of enemies, Krishna and Balaram, having executed all necessary purification, then heard the kettle drums resounding at the wrestling arena, and they went there to see what was happening." Here, the word Kruta Saucha means having executed all necessary purification. Srila Prabhupada explains in his purport that Lord Krishna and Balaram were about to kill Kamsa, who in relation is his maternal uncle. So, before this wrestling match, both Lord Krishna and Balaram had executed their purification process, which generally is done for their relief from offense. Here, it's by performing heroic deeds. There was a reason, actually we know, for killing Krishna. What was the reason Krishna and Balaram thought? Even after we have made our power known to Kamsa by breaking the bow and by performing other feats, our parents have still not secured freedom. In fact, Kamsa is again trying to kill them. Therefore, although he is our maternal uncle, it will not be wrong for us to kill him. This way, they assured their offenselessness by this reasoning. Let's see how Krishna kills Kuvalayapida. At the gate of the wrestling arena, Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram encountered an huge elephant named Kuvalaya, who was blocking their way at the urging of his keeper, which depicted the malicious intent of the elephant keeper. We know Lord Krishna was obviously preparing for a fight so securely he put aside his Angavastra, tightened his belt and tied back his curly hairs and said loudly to the elephant keeper, Ambashtambargam no deya pakramamachiram no cheta sakunjaram tvadya nayami yamasadanam. Translation. Here Lord Krishna said, "O driver, move aside at once. Let us pass. If you don't this very day, I will send you both, you and your elephant, to the abode of Yamaraja." Listening to this, the elephant keeper became very angry and instigated Kuvalaya, the furious elephant, to attack Lord Krishna. The mighty elephant grabbed at Krishna with his trunk, but Krishna struck back and then disappeared from the beast's sight among his legs. Enraged and not being able to see Krishna, Kuvalaya sought him out with his sense of smell and seized him. But Krishna pulled loose in this way. Krishna teased and tormented Kuvalayapida. Krishna then grabbed the powerful Kuvalayapida by the tail and playfully dragged him 25 bow lengths as easily as Garuda might drag a snake. Krishna also dodged at places. He playfully fell on the ground and quickly got up again. The raging elephant, thinking Krishna was down, tried to gore him with his tusk but struck the earth instead. Finally, Krishna pulled out one of the tusks of Kuvalaya and killed him along with his keepers. In this context, Sukadeva Goswami says, Viruddha Sweda Kanika Vadan Amburoho Bahvav. Translation: His lotus face, covered with fine drops of his own perspiration, the Lord shone with great beauty. Lord Krishna, now sprinkled with the elephant's blood and carrying one of the elephant tusks on his shoulder as a weapon, appeared unprecedentedly beautiful. Now Krishna enters the wrestling arena. The various groups of people in the arena regarded Krishna in different ways when he entered the wrestling arena with his elder brother Balaram. The wrestlers saw Krishna as a lightning bolt, the men of Mathura as the best of males, the woman as Cupid in person, the cowherd men as a relative, the impious rulers as a chastiser, his parents as their child, the king of the Bhojas as death, the unintelligent as the Supreme Lord's universal form, the yogis as the absolute truth, and the Vrishnis as the supreme worshipable deity. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti points out that people like the wrestlers Kamsa and the impious rulers perceive Krishna as dangerous, angry, or threatening because they fail to understand the actual position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, as we all know, Lord Krishna is everyone's friend and well-wisher. But because we rebel against him, he chastises us, and thus we may perceive him as threatening. Krishna or God is actually merciful, and when he punishes us, that is also his mercy. Srila Rupa Goswami elaborately explains in his Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu that there are 5 main rasas: neutrality, servitude, friendship, parental love, and conjugal love, and 7 secondary rasas, namely amazement, humor, chivalry, compassion, fury, fear, and dread. Thus, altogether, there are 12 rasas, and the supreme object of them all is Sri Krishna himself. In other words, our love and affection are actually meant for Sri Krishna. Unfortunately, out of ignorance, we stubbornly try to squeeze the happiness and love out of the material relationships which are not directly connected to Krishna, and thus our life becomes a constant frustration. For this, the solution is so simple. What we have to do? We have to just surrender to Krishna, love Krishna's devotees, and always be happy forever. When King Kamsa heard how Krishna and Balaram had killed Kuvalayapida, he realized they were invincible and became anxiety. The members of the audience, on the other hand, became joyful as they reminded one another about the Lord's pastime on Putna, Shaktashur, Trinavat, Pralamba, Vatsakha, Baka, etc. Some people declared as follows: एतो भगवत साक्षात् धरेर्नारायणस्य हि अवतीर्णार्विहांशेन वसुदेवस्य वेश्मनि, which means Krishna and Balaram must be two expansions of the Supreme Lord Narayana who had descended into the house of the Vasudev. Now let's see the killing of the Chanura and Mushtika, the wrestlers. Thus, appreciated differently by different kinds of men present, Krishna entered the wrestling arena with Balaram and his coward boyfriends. The wrestler Chanura then stepped forward, challenging Krishna and Balaram to wrestle, saying that King Kamsa wished to see such a match, and Krishna replied, although we are merely nomadic forest folk, we are nonetheless subjects of the king. Thus, we will not hesitate to please Kamsa with an exhibition of wrestling. As soon as Chanura heard this, he suggested that Krishna should wrestle him and that Balaram should wrestle with Mushtika. Deciding to wrestle, Lord Krishna, what he did? He faced off against Chanura and Lord Baldev took on Mushtika. Battling arm to arm, head to head, knee to knee, and chest to chest, the opponents attacked each other so fiercely that they appeared to be harming even their own bodies. Lord Balaram and Mushtika, expertly displaying numerous wrestling techniques, battled each other in the same way that Lord Krishna and his opponent did. The harsh blows from the Supreme Lord's limb fell like crushing the lightning bolts upon Chanura, breaking every part of his body and causing more and more pain and fatigue to Chanura. The ladies in the arena, seeing the violent battle, began to condemn the king and all the members of the assembly. A respectable audience should never have allowed a wrestling match between such huge wrestlers whose limbs are so tough as lightning bolts and such tender young boys who are just entering the youth. An intelligent person should never enter an assembly if he sees injustice being done there, because Vasudev and Devaki did not fully understand the power of Krishna and Balaram. They became extremely unhappy when they heard the women of the audience speak these words. Krishna then grabbed Chanura's arms, whirled them around several times, threw him to the ground, and thus killed him. And Mushtaka met a similar fate after being struck powerfully by Lord Balram's palm. Mushtaka began vomiting blood following down thereupon. Thereafter, there were some other wrestlers also named Kuta, Sala, Toshala. They also came forward, but Krishna and Balaram easily killed them with the blows of their fists and feet. The remaining wrestlers, fearing for their lives, they just all fled. Now, we come to the important part of the Krishna Katha, the killing of Kamsa. As we know, in Bhagavad Gita 4.8 shlok, which he read as follows: Paritranaya sadhona vinashaya chadushkrutam dharma sanstarpanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. One of the purpose of Krishna appearing in this material world is to, as we all know, to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish religion. Now we will see who is Kamsa and what was his character. Kamsa has here been described as Asabhya. Asabhya means uncivilized or most heinous. because he killed the many children of his sister. When he heard the prophecy that he would be killed by her eighth son, this uncivilized Kamsa was immediately ready to kill his innocent sister on the occasion of her marriage. In this context, Srila Prabhupada says an uncivilized man can do anything for the satisfaction of his own senses. He can kill children, he can kill cows, he can kill brahmanas, he can kill old men. He has no mercy for anyone. According to Vedic civilization, cows, women, children, old men, and brahmanas should be excused if they are at fault. But asuras do not care about that. At the present moment, in our present day life also, the killing of cows and the killing of children is going on unrestrictedly, and therefore the present civilization is not at all human, and those who are conducting this condemned civilization are uncivilized asuras. Now, let's see. Uh, in his previous life, Kamsa had been a great demon named Kalanemi, and he was killed by Lord Vishnu. Upon learning this information from Narada Muni, Kamsa became very envious of everyone connected with the Yadu dynasty. Kamsa orders to kill Vasudev, Nanda, and his own father Ugrasena. Except for Kamsa, everyone present cheered Krishna and Balaram. The king, in a rage, stopped the festive music and ordered that Vasudev, Nanda, Ugrasen, and all the cowards be severely punished, and that Krishna and Balaram be driven away from the assembly. Now let's see Krishna kills Kamsa. Krishna became very furious when he heard Kamsa speak this way, and he instantly leapt onto the lofty royal dais, jumped from ground to the high dais area where Kamsa was sitting. तमाविशन्तमालोक्य मृत्युम् आत्मन आसनात् मनस्वी सहसोत्थाय जग्रहे सोऽसि चर्मणि. Seeing Lord Krishna approaching like death personified, the quick-witted Kamsa instantly rose from his seat and took up his sword and shield. With the sword in his hand, Kamsa moved quickly from side to side like a hawk in the sky. But Lord Krishna, whose fearsome strength is irresistible, powerfully seized the demon just as the son of Taraksha might capture a snake. Grabbing Kamsa by the hair and knocking off his crown, the lotus-naveled Lord threw him off the elevated dais onto the wrestling mat. Then the independent Lord, the support of the entire universe, threw himself upon the king. Srila Prabhupada nicely describes the death of Kamsa as follows. Krishna at once straddled his chest and began to strike him over and over again. Simply from the strokes of his fist, the Kamsa lost his vital force. He was dead. As a lion drags a dead elephant, the Lord then drags the Kamsa's dead body along the ground in full view of everyone present. O king, all the people in the arena tumultuously cried out, "Oh, oh!" Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti explains that many people in the audience thought Kamsa had simply been knocked unconscious when thrown from the lofty dais. Therefore, Lord Krishna dragged his corpse so everyone would realize that the evil Kamsa was indeed dead. Thus, the exclamation, "Oh, oh," indicates how surprised the people were that the king was suddenly dead and gone. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 44 and 39 words, which read as follows. सनित्यदोद्विग्रधियातमीश्वरं पिबन्नदन्वा विचरन् स्वपन् श्वसन् ददर्श चक्रायुधमाग्रतो यत तदेव रूपं दुरवापमाप. Translation: Kamsa had always been distributed by the thought that Supreme Lord was to kill him. Therefore, when drinking, eating, moving about, sleeping, or simply breathing, the king had always seen the Lord before him with a disc weapon in his hand. Thus, Kamsa achieved the rare boon of attaining a form like the Lord's. Although born out of fear, Kamsa's constant meditation on the Supreme Lord eradicated all his offenses, and therefore the demon was liberated upon his death at the Lord's hand. Supreme Lord granted him Sarupya Mukti. Then Kamsa's 8 younger brothers, led by Kanka and Nyayogradaka, then attacked the lords in a rage, seeking to avenge their brother's death. As they ran swiftly towards the two lords, Lord Krishna and Balaram, ready to strike, the son of Rohini, Balaram, slew them with his club just as a lion easily kills other animals. Kettle drums resounded in the sky as the joyful demigods rained down the flowers and chanted the glories of Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram. The wives of Kamsa, grieving for their husband, lamented that he had died because of his violence towards other living entities and his lack of respect for the Supreme Lord Krishna, who creates, maintains, destroys the entire universe. Then the Lord consoled the widows and had the funeral rites performed for Kamsa and his brothers, and then released his mother and father from bondage. Krishna offered obeisances at his parents' feet, but they, now understanding him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, did not embrace him. Krishna all merciful. One may wonder why this section of killing Kuvalayapida and Kamsa contains so much violence and killing, since the Supreme Personality of Godhead is said to be all merciful. But there is no question of wrongdoing in Krishna's action. As we all know, because Krishna is a absolute, whatever Krishna does is absolutely good. Fighting and killing is required for a Kshatriya warrior when there is a need to punish miscreants who threaten the peaceful citizens of society. When such criminals need to be rebuffed, non-violence is cowardice, as Krishna told Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. As we all know, devotees of Krishna are naturally non-violent towards all living entities, even animals. But if the demonic makes a violent disturbance, the devotees are prepared to counter such violence in the service of the Supreme Lord. Also, when Krishna kills someone, he gives that person the benediction of liberation. Astoundingly, Kamsa here, he immediately awarded Sarupya Mukti upon being killed by Lord Krishna. This means that he went to the spiritual planets where he was able to live in eternity, bliss, and knowledge with a form almost exactly resembling the Supreme Lord's in opulence and beauty. Such liberation is very difficult to achieve, even after hundreds of lifetimes spent searching for the absolute truth. As we know, yogis and ascetics achieve release from all material desires only after prolonged severe austerities. But even they do not reach the Vaikuntha planets. They merge into the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, the effulgence of the Lord. Kamsa, however, had a personal relationship with Lord Krishna. He thought of Krishna, as we know, day and night. He was always thinking, when will he come? What he is doing now? When will he kill me? So, Kamsa was given a place more exalted than all the impersonal mystic yogis of the Hatha Yoga school or the philosophers who speculate about the impersonal absolute truth. This gives us a hint of the great power of bhakti. If such an enemy of Krishna is given such a high place, we can barely even imagine that the sweet favor the Lord awards to those who relate to Him in a positive, loving way, always rendering service to Him and chanting His glories. As we all know, we are all eternal parts and parcel of Krishna, but we are now suffering the miseries of repeated birth and death in the material world, in forgetfulness of Krishna. We should not struggle to rival Krishna. Rather, we should understand that the only business of our life is to serve the Supreme Lord. We each have a natural aptitude for the service of Krishna, and that should be developed under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. The first engagement is to hear the pastimes of Krishna. Always we should hear the pastimes of Krishna, and that is what our ISKCON Balaram Desh congregation has dedicated a full month to schedule to hear about the pastimes of Lord Krishna in this auspicious month of Kartika, which is also known as Damodara month. With this, I end this session here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev Maharaj ki jai. I beg forgiveness if I have erred in giving the right message. If I have missed anything, I request the senior devotees to please add here. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Mangalas Prabhu?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Very nice, Mataji. It was really a pleasure. Hare Krishna. It's very nice service. So we really pray for you.
Thank you
That you
so
keep
much.
on engaging in serving Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Mataji, I'll present the temple activities video. You can read on the presentation.
Sure, Prabhuji. Our prayers and blessings to you and your family and friends for participating in this event organized by ISKCON worldwide for world peace and love. The glories of Kartika. It is stated in Hari Damodar Yatra. If somebody lights a lamp in the temple of Lord Sri Hari, even for a short time in the month of Kartik, then whatever sins he has acquired for millions of kalpas, one kalpa equals 1000 Chaturyugas, are all destroyed. It is stated as in the Padma Purana. Now we will see the glories of Kartika. Hari Bhakti Vilas. Charity, yagya, japa and austerities performed in the month of Kartika bring a result, O best of Brahmanas, that will never be destroyed. O Narada, I have personally seen that a person who happily reads Bhagavad Gita during the month of Kartika does not return to the world of birth and death. In Skanda Puran, as per Skanda Puran, one who during the month of Kartika gives a small gift to Lord Vishnu attains a result that will never be destroyed. As per Padma Puran, of the 12 months, Kartika is the most dear to Lord Krishna. To anyone who even slightly worships Lord Vishnu during its time, the month of Kartika gives residence in Lord Vishnu's transcendental abode. Glories of Damodar month. In the Skanda Purana, it is said the pious result obtained by bathing in all the holy places and giving all charities is not equal to 1/10 millionth of part of the result obtained by following the vow of Kartika. It is mentioned in Hari Bhakti Vilasa 16.32. Kartika is the best of months, the most pious of pious deeds, the most purifying of all that purify. Hari Bhakti Vilas 16.36. Lord Krishna is pleased by offering of a single lamp during the month of Kartika. Lord Krishna glorifies anyone who lights a lamp for someone else to offer. As per Hari Bhakti Vilas 16.99, in the Skanda Puran, it is said that when one offers a lamp during the month of Kartika, his sins in many thousands and millions of birds perish in half an eye blink. This temple has organized many cultural services about ISKCON worldwide. At present, it is online because, as we all know, it is because of the COVID-19. About ISKCON worldwide, daily programs at temple, that is chanting, darshan, glorification through scriptures, bhajan sandhya, Karuna action force. House programs, bhakti vrikshas to discuss and understand and practice the spiritual topics. Madhav gardens, Vedic knowledge to children in a systematic and fun-filled manner. And youth programs are also being conducted online, which are very inspiring, and interactive sessions will take place. Seminars and courses for the systematic study of scriptures. Other temple community services, that is Karuna Action Force. Karuna Action Force was constituted to help the needy during these troubled times. 400 plus kits have been distributed so far to devotees and well-wishers. Supported Indian Community Relief Fund as well as the Bahrain government's initiative Fina Khair. Supported devotees by sponsoring their air tickets to India. They have also supported children from our community by paying school fees. And it has also supported many temples and congregations around the world, including Mayapur, Vrindavan, Chennai, Trivandrum, Bangladesh, etc. In Bahrain, you can offer various sevas to the Lord. Devotees can offer the following services to the Lord, such as Abhishekam, Prasadam sponsorship, Bhoga offerings, deity service for the pleasure of the Lordship, and Shri Krishna and Narsimha Archana. And you can offer for flowers and garlands for the Lordships. For temple maintenance also you can give donation. Special occasions including samskaras like naming ceremony, annaprashanam, birthdays, anniversaries, remembrance days, etc. can also be celebrated in ISKCON. Hare Krishna.
In the Skanda Puran, Lord Brahma And says Narada converse that the month of Kartik is very dear to Lord Krishna. When one offers a lamb during the month of Kartik, his sins of many thousands and millions of births perish in half an eye blink. Even if there is no mantras, no pious deeds, and no purity, everything becomes perfect when a person offers a lamb during the month of Kartik. Person who offers a lamb to Lord Krishna during the month of Damodar becomes very glorious and fortunate. No sins exist anywhere in the three worlds that will not be purified by offering a lamb to Lord Keshav during Kartik. A person who offers a lamb to Lord Damodar during Kartik attains the eternal spiritual world where there is no suffering.
Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Prajamana Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Prajamana Yashodhaviyo Lokalata Bhamana Param Vrishtamadhyanta Todruta Gopya Yashodhaviyo Lokalata Bhamana Param Vrishtamadhyanta Todruta Gopya Satkundalango kule brajamanam Yashodhapiyo luka ladavamanam Param vrashtamatanta todrutya gopya Rudam tamuhurnetram yugmam rejanta karamboja yugmena satanka netram muhoshvasakam patrirekanka kanta Chitagaivam damoda Ram Bhakti Padam Iti Drikshvalilabhir Ananda Kunde Sughosham Nimajantam Vakyapayantam Tadiyeshu Taggeshu Bhakti Jitatvam Puna Prematastam Sataveti Bande Param Deva Moksham Na Moksham Vadimva Nachanyam Vrineham Reshadapiha Idam Te Vapurnata Gopalavala मुहुशुम्बितां बिम्ब रक्ताधरं मे मनसा विरास्तमलं लक्ष्यलाभे नमो देवदामोदर अनन्त विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःख जालाब्धिमग्ना कृपादृष्टिभ्रष्टात् दीनां भक्तान् गृहाणेश मामाज्ञ मेदाक्षिदृश कुबेरात्मजो बद्ध मूर्त्वैव यात्वा त्वया मोचितो भक्तिभाजोक्तो च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं सकामे प्रयास नमो शीघ्रहो मे स्थिता मोदरेह नमस्तेस्तु दाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिदाम्ने त्वदीयदरायत विश्वसदाम्ने नमो राधिकाय त्वदीया प्रियाय नमोऽनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यं नमामीश्वरां सा चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम्
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much, Mataji. It was a nice class and summary of the class also. It was nice at the end.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Mataji, you can do the Narsimandana for the benefit of all and we'll conclude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can my daughter do?
Yeah, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Divya?
हरि बोल हरे कृष्ण श्री श्री नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय भक्तप्रहलाद महाराज की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय नमस्ते नरसिंहाय प्रह्लादलाददाहिने हिरण्यकशिपूर्वक्षः शीलडङ्कानकालाय हितो नरसिंह परतो नरसिंह यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंह बाहे नरसिंह हृदये नरसिंह नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपद्ये तव करकमलवरे नखा अद्भुतशृङ्गा दारिता हिरण्यकशिपुतनुद्वेङ्गा केशवदीता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव करकमलवरे नखाम् अद्भुतशृङ्गा दालिता हिरण्यकशिपुतनुद्वेङ्गा केशवदीता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय
नरसिंहादेव जय नरसिंहादेव जय भक्त प्रह्लाद जय भक्त प्रह्लाद जय भक्त प्रह्लाद जय भक्त प्रह्लाद जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा शील प्रभुपदा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा ओम उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं जयन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नरसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युं नमाम्यहं जय नरसिंह श्री नरसिंह जय जय श्री नरसिंह जय प्रहलादेश जय पद्मुखा जय प्रद्युम्न श्री श्री प्रहलाद नरसिंह देव भगवान की जय भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय गुरुदेव की जय निताय गौर प्रणाम हरि
Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
कृष्ण
Mangalas Prabhu, any announcements you want to do? Haribol. Thank you all for the association. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.